We'll figure it out. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Desert Farmer Podcast, episode 67. 67, so in order. So I want to welcome you guys to the podcast today. It is August, and boy, is today a nice day compared to how it's been, right? We're right at 100 degrees, maybe just under. But for us in August, that's a really nice day. You know you're from Arizona when ... You say something like that.
Yeah.
No doubt. So before we get started, I want to give you guys a couple of quick housekeeping notes. Housekeeping note number one would be what?
If you have a question, just write the word question before you state your question, just so it stands out to me, I don't miss it, and can get that question answered for you.
Yes, and she'll be paying attention to all of the comments down below. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, she picks out a gem, and she'll share it with everybody. But ultimately, she does need to pick out those questions. So question all caps if you can. Helps us out a lot. And then housekeeping note number two is give us a thumbs up. If you enjoy the content, particularly the podcast here that we give you guys each week, definitely helps if you give us a thumbs up and helps to kind of send this around the world. So we'd appreciate that. Okay, so we have a couple of not housekeeping notes. We got those done. But we got a couple of things we want to share with you guys that happened this week. So I know at least the first two, we want to wait until somebody's here, right? Or is it both of them?
The first one. First one we want to wait until those two are here.
And then the second one as well?
No, that's just our wine.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think we had shared this last week. So you guys know we make wine here, and we use a lot of the different fruits that we grow here on the farm. Obviously, grapes, that's a no-brainer. And the grapes wind up being the last wines that we finish each season. So one of the advantages that we have here in Arizona, obviously, is the heat. I look at it as advantage, especially when it comes to fermentation, because the warmer weather helps with fermentation. It speeds it up a little bit. So we prefer to do all of our fermenting with the exception of, I guess, kefir, which we do year-round. Mm-hmm. So with the exception of kefir, we usually do that during the summertime. And, of course, our wines are part of that. So we usually start in about June. We finished our mulberry and blackberry harvest are basically done. We start with those two. We usually have apricot. Apricot got mixed in there this year. We have another one that we're going to share with you guys. If it turns out okay, we'll see. If we do a peach wine, that usually winds up in there. And then, of course, we roll into our grape wines. Those are last because we harvest them last. And this year we had, I think, actually wine from every single one of our different varieties of grapes that are producing. We have a new wine grape that we just put in this year. So don't anticipate a harvest off of those for probably at least a couple more years. It'll be a white wine, and it is a southern type grape. So we're hopeful for that one. Yeah. So we shall see. Yeah. But our last wine that we do is Cabernet. We started that last weekend, and today we finally took it off the skins. We got it pressed and put into the secondary. So that is the last one. And so we get to put away about half of the equipment that we use for making wine because we're still not done yet.
No.
So we started re-racking our first wines yesterday. And if you guys don't know what that means, what happens when you're making wine, you get a real heavy sediment layer in the very beginning. You want to get it off that sediment layer because that's the leftover, what you call lees or sediment, but it's called lees. You want to get it off of that because it's basically dead yeast and different material, and it really can impart some off flavors. And so we make sure that we went about 2 months on one of those, which is a bit long. We like to go about 4 weeks or so, up to 6 weeks. We get it off of that into the secondary, and then that sits in there for a couple months. Mm-hmm. So we won't come back and bottle those until probably between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Mm-hmm. That's usually what we're doing. When we shut the channel down for a while, we're still working. So we get that done during that month. And this year we got a lot of wine to bottle. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then last year, so we just re-racked some wine. Last year when that happened, we had some wines that failed for the very first time. We still don't know exactly what it was, but this year, no issues at all. So higher alcohol content, number one, and back to the yeast that we know do well, number two. So we had changed those a little bit last year. I don't know which one was the problem, but we're not going to take any chances because it cost us a lot of wine last year. But this year they look great. And what's interesting is the blackberry wine, right? So it did not. So that I don't know if we messed up on the specific gravity to start, but because we know these yeasts do a really good job, they can handle really high alcohol content, and we still had some residual sugars in there, which has never happened before. So I'm guessing that I was a little heavy-handed with the sugar up front.
We had to have been.
Had to have been, because it is a little sweet, but I think it might be about perfect. So my guess is that's like 17 or 18% alcohol and sweet. So it's really dangerous. So anyways, so that was one. And then who's here? Is Misco here? See Misco? Hey, Misco. First of all, thank you for always being here. You're very consistent. You're here every week. And thank you. We finally went to the post office. And thank you for the gift package, man. That was awesome. So do you have, I guess, we've got a couple of things. So we got two taste tests we're going to do with you guys today. This one, if I get to it, that one was a little surprising. Found this on a tree that we weren't expecting yesterday. So we'll get to that if we can. You guys can obviously probably tell what that is. It's pretty straightforward. That's an apple. We'll share with you guys what that is here in just a minute. But what did we get from Misco?
Yeah, so last couple of weeks we were saying how we wanted, someone to write us a letter, and so we get actually 2 letters this week.
Yep. If Pam's here, is Pam here?
I haven't seen Pam yet.
Okay.
But Pam sent us a letter, and then so we got this one, and also got some goodies. And
Misco's here. Misco, so you'll see him there. But so some of it's in English and the other is not. So Misco's from Slovakia. So I don't know how to pronounce some of it, but the front you can pronounce, right?
Yeah.
So what is that? Mikitka?
Yep.
Mikitka?
This one is so he sent us a bunch of goodies, protein type treats from where he's at, and this one is brownie and protein, and this is a little cream protein ball.
I'm down for protein.
Type of thing. So
always down for protein.
Thank you. That was really cool. And we haven't tried them yet. We've been waiting all week because we wanted to try them on camera so you can be here with us to do it. And so we picked one of each of these, and we'll try those here.
I don't think these grow on trees, is my guess.
Those don't grow on trees.
It says loveberry. So I don't remember a loveberry, but we'll try it anyway. All right. So we need to make sure we get to that. But any questions real quick before we get started on the topic of the day?
So I got my 9 variety. Okay. Can grubs damage apple trees to the point of death?
So I would say it can happen. We've never seen it. We haven't lost a tree to grubs, and we have grubs. It's the fig eater beetles, Japanese beetles. It's a type of scarab, either way. So we get those big green beetles here, and they eat fruit and things like that. Well, they're massive white grubs that our chickens love, by the way. But we get those everywhere, and we get the beetles all over the place. If we dig up enough soil, we're going to have a bunch of those white grubs in there, and we've never lost a tree to those. And we find them around the trees all the time, even young trees, older trees, it doesn't matter. And we've never lost a tree to one. So I don't know what the circumstances would be where you would lose one, but I'm sure you can. My guess is it would probably be a matter of the tree itself struggling to begin with, because obviously we do a lot of things here to make sure that our trees get off to a good start, and we talk a lot about the fact that trees need to get established as quickly as possible here, and you need to do everything you can to get the right rootstock, plant it correctly, irrigate well, give it a lot of moisture, and let those roots expand as quickly as possible. So that would allow them to get through anything like that. And then those also, my understanding is they're looking for dying and dead material. And so it's not live roots that they're after, it's actually that. So it shouldn't be unless the tree was already struggling. If that's the case, then sure, everything's going to come in and start eating that. We've dug up and found roaches in the soil from time to time, especially underneath wood chips sometimes, all kinds of creepy critters in there that eat decaying material. And so if it's decaying, sure, they probably are. And they won't be the only things down there that are doing that. So, really, worms will do that at some point in time. So, yeah. Anything else?
So do you want to just hit the 2 questions that
Yeah.
are on here and then we'll get to topic?
Yeah.
How many square feet does 5 pounds of the 9 variety ground cover seed mix cover?
Oh, dear Lord, math? Wait a minute. Is this the Math and Farming podcast? I have absolutely no idea. Can you ask that question one more time? This is like Johnny went to school and he started.
How many square feet does 5 pounds of the 9 variety ground cover seed mix cover? It should say on your bag.
I'm not sure what ground mix we're talking about.
It's just a 9 variety, so obviously a mix of 9 different. Yeah, so she said that she got her 9 variety ground cover seed mix in today.
Okay,
So just asking how many square feet it covers. But
yeah,
I mean, it should say right on your
yeah,
bag.
I don't know the answer to that question. So I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Do you use gray water?
Yes and no. So we don't use gray water from the house. And the reason being, it's illegal to do that here in Arizona. At least it is in Maricopa County. So when we first had the house plans drawn up here, we had 2 different, the way our house was built, we had 2 different GCs. And we had a GC that was doing kind of the foundation and some of that work. And then we had the GC that built the house. So the GC that built the house, I did pose that question, and I posed it to the other GC because the house GC was actually based, well, they're based in Washington, but their local guy was based here. So both of them told me that we could not use gray water out of the house for plants and whatnot. The state of Arizona, it's either the state or the county. I don't know which one. We're in the county, so we don't have a city out here. Whitman is not an incorporated city. So we're in Maricopa County, so it's either the county or the state that doesn't allow it. And so it can't even be on the plans. And so we can't legally use gray water outside of the house out on the farm. That being said, you guys may or may not remember, but we had a remodel done of our kitchen and we needed a larger island because I messed up. Big shocker there. But Lori was right yet again. Have I said that? How many times have I said that today, by the way?
Today, this is the first time.
Oh, today is the first time today. So either way, we had that done. So we had our old sink and, granite countertop, blah, blah, blah. So we used that as a temporary sink while we were waiting for the thing to get done. And all of a sudden, bright idea, we can install that as an outdoor sink over near our blackberries. And so we have it kind of tucked up underneath our contorted mulberry tree that's starting to grow over that and right up next to one of our blackberry beds. And with that sink, we actually have the piping from the sink going down. We did a video on it, but we have it going down and then it goes out into beds. We drilled some holes in some 2-inch piping that came, or maybe 1.5-inch piping, probably 1.5-inch piping. And those pipes run along that bed. So we do use a type of gray water there whenever people are washing their hands, because we use that for hand washing and whatnot. And obviously when we're using it to clean fruit, or veggies. So we do use it for that. And we've even done some animal processing and things like that around there. And so, yeah, so some gray water went in there, but otherwise, no, we can't. We're not allowed to use it. So, yeah. Any other questions before we jump in?
There is several questions, so I don't know if you want to go to that and then come back.
Are they Moringa related, or?
Huh?
Are they Moringa related?
No.
Okay, so what do we do? Let's make sure we come back to those questions. Hang in there. We're going to answer your questions. I'm going to do my best to not spend a lot of time on Moringa today because there's some other things we want to do. If you can jump over to the spreadsheet, I've got some notes there. So Moringa, we get a lot of questions about Moringa here on the farm. And I will be the first one to tell you, it is an amazing superfood from what I've read. And we have been using it ourselves for several years. We started growing our first Moringa trees from seed on the old farm. Had some hiccups there, we'll share in a minute. But we had a very good harvest off of that tree and we started drying the leaves. We have tried them cooked, basically raw and cooked, and we've also tried the pods. And so we've had all the different parts of the edible parts of the tree. We have used those or eaten those here over the last several years. And I will tell you that it is a very green tasting green. So you can look at that as a pro or a con, because we're going to talk about pros and cons here, but it is a very, very intense green flavor, especially from the leaves, and particularly when they're fresh. So, but either way, we've been growing it for a long time. You guys know that we have figured out the best way to get them started here in the ground. We've basically had 100% success with what we're going to share with you here, and we may do a separate video on it just because we're confident that this is the best way to do it at this point. But either way, we have found a way to easily start them, and not through propagation, but it is easy to propagate them because it's easy to save the seeds. So they're very easy in that regard. They, once established, they really are pretty drought tolerant. Mm-hmm. So we have some moringa now that we're basically allowing to kind of die off because we want to pull these trees. We're going to do something different with that space. And so we are basically watering when you remember, right? Which is not even once a week. And they're still alive, right? So these trees are 2 or 3 years old. And if you guys are here in Arizona this year, you know that we've had drought. We've had no rain throughout the summer. And so, you know, we've had some obviously, very obvious hot and dry days. These trees are still alive. Yeah. You know, so either way, we do know that they can become drought tolerant. Now, what I want to do is I want to walk you through some pros and cons, and then we can kind of see whether or not they're really worth growing here in Arizona, because it is a tree that we get a lot of questions about. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about the pros. And so the first one is ease of propagation. And when I say that, I am specifically, at least here in Arizona, I'm talking about starting them from seed. So once you get a tree going, you can easily harvest the dried pods, and dried pods are what you're looking for. And those seeds in there are viable seeds. We've had very, very good success with all the seeds that we've harvested from our trees. Near 100% success planting those, and even seeds that are 4 or 5 years old. You remember when we got here, we had seeds that were, I think, pushing 5 years old. Yeah. And we planted those in the ground and had almost 100% success or take with all of those seeds. So they store well, they propagate well, especially here in Arizona. We have talked a little bit about timing, and we do get, the reason we're talking about moringa today, we had somebody reach out asking if we sold moringa, and we don't. And the reason why we don't is because we don't believe that a start is a good idea, only from experience. So again, growing them now for going on, 7 years or 8 years. And we've tried several different ways of growing these. We've had cuttings, we've had potted plants, we've seeded directly, we've seeded into a pot and then transplanted. And we've had varying success with 3 of the 4 of those, and near 100% success direct seeding those. Mm-hmm. And the only time we didn't have success direct seeding is when we planted them too late. So right now it's too late.
Yeah, I think we planted them in August one year, and they just didn't grow enough before the cold.
Correct. And so timing on this is very important. And we have a few crops here in Arizona where this is the case. Moringa is absolutely one of those. We have had 100% success, and this is probably at this point, would you say 15 to 20 trees that we planted this way? Mm-hmm. Probably seed?
Oh, at least, because we've got, 10, 11, at least.
So I would say somewhere between 15 and 20 trees we've direct seeded. Every single one of them is still alive today, and they've survived winters, summers, doesn't matter. So planting them at the beginning of the monsoon season is, in my opinion, and in our experience, the only way to do this. At least to guarantee success, or at least have a high probability of success. So direct seeding, we've got videos on it, direct seeding in the ground, beginning of the monsoon season. That was as early as late June for us one year. Mm-hmm. That tree's doing fantastic. And as late as about the 1st or 2nd week of July, all of those trees still doing fantastic. In fact, the trees I was talking about that are still surviving, even though we're not watering them, were direct seeded. So we have one tree in back there that was transplanted. It continues to struggle to this day. Yeah. And so, and we've had, the rest of the trees we've tried have been failures. All of them have. And all of them were basically transplants of one type or another. Either a potted tree we bought, something that we propagated into a pot and transplanted. All of those have ultimately become failures with one exception. So not to say it can't be done. It can. I'm just saying to have your best chance of success, direct seed them beginning of the monsoon season. All right, so that was, so pro number 1, easy to propagate. Just make sure you do it at the right time. What was number 2?
Superfood green.
So we started with that. So we have, you guys know we have a lot. We got over 200 fruiting trees, vines, and shrubs here. It's a lot more than 200, but we know it's over 200. So we out of that 200, we don't count the moringa trees in this group, but the moringa trees do give us fruit in the pod. Okay, so that is a fruit, but it's not a traditional fruit. It's not a sweet fruit. The rest of the trees we have, with the exception of our nut trees, are sweet fruits. So this one obviously is a green. And so the fact that you're getting a green off of a tree that does grow very rapidly here is pretty impressive. So, and obviously all of the benefits that you would get from a green, you're going to get from a moringa, and it's basically the same. Now, there can be better benefits to a moringa over, say, a traditional green, like your annual greens. Now, that is assuming that said moringa is putting a very deep taproot in the ground. We're going to get back to that here in just a minute. So a deep taproot is going to allow that root to go down into the ground, and it's going to start mining minerals for you, putting them back up into the tree, which is what it allows it to be so productive and grow so quickly and put on these beautiful green leaves. And of course, the mineral content that it's getting from the soil is going into those greens, and then that is going into you. And obviously you're getting trace minerals and whatnot from this superfood that you're not going to get from a different type of green that's an annual, at least potentially. So that's another pro. And obviously probably the biggest pro, honestly, is a green off of a tree that's edible for us and readily grows very, very quickly. So I had another pro down there.
I use the whole tree.
Right. So there's medicinal uses for basically the entire tree, roots included. So you can basically use everything from this tree. One of the things that we know is it grows very, very rapidly, several feet in a year. We can easily get 8 to 10 feet of growth, and no exaggeration there, in a single season. Mm-hmm. So you can definitely get a tremendous amount of growth. And the beautiful part about these trees, because they grow so rapidly, the branches, they're very lightweight. I mean, you can lop off. We pulled a tree the other day. Back to that in a minute. But they're very, very lightweight. So they break down very rapidly. If you're going to use them for firewood, I'll tell you, they're going to burn very, very fast. But they're also easy to put through the chipper. So, I mean, they blow right through the chipper.
They do really good chipped.
They are fantastic chipped and give you a mulch that's going to break down very rapidly. So if you're looking for a mulch that's going to break down quickly, maybe mix it with a green or something where you're going to try to make soil, it's going to do that pretty fast, because there's a lot of air inside these trunks, and you'll see you get a nice big huge trunk, and they're very, very lightweight. Mm-hmm. So a few pros. There are more. I'm sure if you guys some additional pros, if you guys have some ideas, put them down in the chat or in the comment section. Would love to see those. So, but a few pros that I wanted to lay out first that I think are probably the best things for us here. And then, of course, we talked about the fact that it can become drought tolerant. So, having a drought tolerant tree that is going to give you a healthy green like that is definitely a wonderful thing that we have as an option for us here in Arizona. Okay. Now, these trees can also be grown outside of desert areas, but typically they're grown as annuals. So they're going to die back. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But even here in Arizona, they definitely can die from the cold, which, jumping into our cons, is the number one con with these trees. So we cover exactly one type of tree here on the farm. That one type of tree is every single one of our moringa trees. So on the old farm, we had a big, beautiful moringa tree. And the trunk was this big around. And I'm not exaggerating. Right?
It was big, yeah.
So that was probably, about 8-inch diameter? So 6 to 8-inch diameter trunk. And it was just a big, beautiful tree. The first moringa video we've ever done, you'll see this tree. Lori was standing underneath it, and it dwarfed her. It was 3 times her height. And that tree had only been in the ground for a couple of years. So, but did really, really well for us. And we, in 2019, had a very, very cold winter. And the coldest we've ever had since we've been out here. We've been out here for 10 years. And prior to that, even living in the city, it was as cold as it had been from what I remember. And we got down to 20 degrees. So, and you guys remember, we're a bit colder than you are in the city. And that killed that tree to the ground. It never came back. Came back. So it killed it outright. So ever since then, we've covered our moringa trees every winter. And because we know that at some point, it's already happened, will hit 20 degrees again, and it'll kill every single one of those trees that we have out there.
Yeah.
So we put burlap over it. You guys have seen, we've done several videos on that. And if you get a hard freeze like we do out here, you will have to protect those.
Yeah.
And if you get a nice big beautiful one and you get down to 20 degrees, you may need to add some heat just to try to keep it alive. I don't know. We haven't gotten down that cold yet, so I don't know whether or not the burlap will be enough. You can mulch it. A lot of people will put additional mulch around that, so dry mulch to, again, help to insulate it. But you guys know we're not a big fan of babying trees here. There's a reason why we don't have a bunch of tropical trees. It's too much work. We do not have the bandwidth to do that. And the moringa trees, they're already pushing it. And now it's just, it's too much.
Well, and the biggest problem that we have with the moringa right now is that we don't have them on irrigation. So we've been hand watering them. And so when you're trying to hand water 15 additional trees, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and more importantly, we have to cover them every winter. And so that won't change. And so we go around every December and cover every single moringa tree, and then come back in March and uncover every single moringa tree. So it can be done, but again, a bit of a con, because the rest of our trees here on the farm, they survive the summer and the winter just fine.
Well, and it's a bummer, though, that when you're having to do that, because we cut it all the way back and then wait for it to grow. So you're not going to ever have, a massive...
The big, beautiful tree that we had before.
Yeah. You won't have that. Cause
you'd have to protect the trunk.
Start over, basically, each season.
You'd have to protect the trunk all the way down. We do cut them way back to get them down that low. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. What was the second one I had there?
It says, look ratty without a lot of water.
Right. So we talked a little bit about... this leads back into a couple things. So moringa trees have a taproot. One of the reasons why I'm convinced that the only way to really do these is direct seeding is because it allows the taproot to stay intact and straight. So the challenge that we have, and you guys know this with mesquite trees here. So mesquite trees, they blow over in the city all the time. Mesquite trees in the desert don't blow over. And the reason that they don't blow over is because they started from seed and they have drilled that taproot down into the ground, and that's what secures the tree. So the challenge that we have, of course, you guys know this, if you go down far enough, most of us have caliche, and it's a hard calcium layer that's in our soil. It's basically rock, and these taproots have to get down through that caliche layer. Now, we know here that we have at least one layer of caliche, because when we had the house being built, we had a trench out front that was 6 feet deep. We had two distinct layers of caliche. So we had caliche at about 1.5 feet down. We had a little bit of dirt, and then about 4 feet down, we had another layer of caliche. I don't know how far down that goes. So I know that out there, it went down as far as 4 feet. So, and I've had folks tell me that they've found it down 6-7 feet down. So most of you out there probably have this. We do as well. So the challenge with your moringa tree is it's going to have to penetrate through that in order for it to truly be desert adapted and almost completely drought proof. So we have not yet had a moringa do that. It's the reason we lost. I'm confident it's the reason we lost the one on the old farm. And we know for a fact here that we're still having that same problem because the trees require a lot of water and consistent water. So they can go without it. We had mentioned that, right? We've got the trees back in the back, but they are dying. So there's no green growth on them. It's just the tree itself is alive. And we have, we're replacing a moringa in where we had our goats, where we used to have our goats. So we had a moringa in there. We're going to replace that with a black Pakistan mulberry. And so we need to prep that ground in order to plant that because we want more shade for all of our animals because the moringa, which we were hopeful for, is not giving us the shade that we wanted. So we pulled a moringa that was probably about 8 feet tall, would you say, give or take? It's a couple feet above my head.
Yeah.
So it was about an 8 foot tall tree. It was probably, the trunk was probably about that big around, would you say?
I don't
maybe
remember.
A little smaller.
I
So it's
don't
about
remember.
a 2-inch trunk in diameter. And tree's been there for, 3 years now, give or take? So we pulled the tractor over, assuming we'd have to yank that thing out of the ground with the tractor. Probably didn't need the tractor. So it literally just popped right out of the ground. The root system was all of about that big, and it was about 4 inches deep. So it was a fraction of how deep our fruit trees go. So and we water it regularly, so that wasn't the case. In fact, when the goats were there, sometimes it would get water almost every day, and it still had basically no root mass underneath it at 3 years old. And so, so you can see the challenge we're going to have is getting the taproot down for it to truly be established and almost drought proof. So that's another challenge for us here. So, and then I think, did I have 3? I wanted to try to get both sides.
Prune through the growing season.
Right. So, well, back to water. So we have 3 moringa trees in our duck area that get water almost every single day. Those are the best looking trees that we have, but they're getting water every day. And so, if you watch some videos from folks that talk about their moringa trees here in town, they're watering them very consistently. So, and much more so than we water any of our fruit trees. So, so they are going to require quite a bit of water up front in order for you to get the green mass that you're really looking for. We're looking for the same thing. So, so that is going to be a challenge, and whether or not they can punch through that caliche layer, and if they ever can, is questionable. I don't know the answer to that question because we have not had it happen yet. So, and then lastly, what was it?
Prune through the growing season.
Right. So the moringa trees do not like the cold. So these are heat-loving trees, and they really do wonderful during the summers for us here. So, but the pruning, you have to prune these back consistently. So the mistakes that we've made in the past, and we've found this to be true, is once it grows about 2 feet, and they grow rapidly, you need to cut them back, and you get a harvest of greens. So the nice part is you get a consistent harvest. But if you don't stay on top of that, what winds up happening is they get nice long shoots, and then all of a sudden the greens start to die off. They don't remain on the tree like a regular fruit tree would, let's say. And then they just start turning into sticks. And so one of the reasons we had these trees where we did is we wanted to have some shade. We need it for our animals there. And these were basically never providing shade. And obviously it's not necessary because you want to have it for production, but you're gonna get a stick basically with a bunch of sticks hanging up. So ultimately that can be a good thing or bad. So I guess I can go kind of in either one. So either way, that's my list. And so I wanted to give you guys some ideas of what I thought were the pros and cons. Obviously, if you guys have either one, a pro or a con that you've experienced here, either in Arizona or in a desert area, would love to see them down here in the chat. Or if you're watching this later, comment. Let me know. People are going to watch this here in the future. They're going to want to get some information as they figure out whether or not they want to do moringa trees, whether it's here or in another area, and would love to get kind of some group knowledge here so that we can share all of this at the same time. So ultimately the question is, and I posed this at the beginning, is moringa worth growing in Arizona? I would say it depends. It depends on what you want from it.
Yeah.
Right? So we talked a little bit about some of the pros and cons today. If you want a big, beautiful shade tree, this is probably not the tree. So if you want a tree that doesn't require any maintenance, this is definitely not the tree because it's going to require maintenance. It's going to require regular pruning in the wintertime, a final pruning in the fall. You're going to have to cover it for the winter. If you're cold enough, you're going to have to add heat, or it's going to turn into an annual for you. So it does require some work that you're not going to get with a stone fruit, a palm fruit, a mulberry tree, blackberries, all the citrus, all the other stuff that we grow here. It's going to require some additional work. So it's not one to just set and forget. If you're water conscious, this is probably not the tree either, but fruit trees are not in general, so that's really not different. But in order for this one to really thrive, we have noticed it needs more water than most of our other fruit trees. And so, because it needs to put on those greens. So obviously it gives you greens,
Exactly. If you're looking for something for those greens, we harvest them, dry them, powder them, put them in our smoothies. Mm-hmm. So
we're not a big fans of it raw. It's a very, very harsh tasting green. So it's more along the lines of spinach or kale. Maybe closer to like a kale, a really, really strong, bitter green flavor. That's moringa. So it is a very, now that's because it's loaded with minerals. There's a lot of reasons why that's the case, but it is a very, very strong tasting green, but it is a green, and in the middle of summer, you guys know, if you got gardens out there, how many things can you leave out in the open, full sun without any shade, and it gives you a green all summer long. So this one does, whereas your other veggies, there's a couple of spinaches that will grow well, but a tree, it's really unique that way.
Yeah.
And it's you can use the whole tree. So now we didn't talk a little bit about fodder. So one of the reasons that we grew these trees was for fodder. Mulberry trees are much better fodder trees in our experience. So the animals generally don't like the moringa. They'll eat it, so they'll eventually eat it, but they definitely don't like charge after it. So the only thing that really does are pigs, but pigs eat just about everything we throw to them.
Yeah.
So there's really not too many things they won't eat. But like the goats, not really interested.
The goats like the flowers.
Not the greens. So,
yeah, they like the flowers on it.
So there you go, flowers. Chickens will eventually do it, but they prefer pretty much any other green. So so that was a little disappointing there too.
Yeah, I guess if the leaves were dry, the goats would eat the dry ones too.
Yeah, yep. So, but I'm curious to see what everybody else says down there as far as whether or not it's worth growing. I think it depends. You really have to decide what you want it for, and if you're willing to put in the work for a harvest. By the way, if you guys have ever, if you've ever dried anything, you know that you get, this thing that's this big and then it becomes this size when you dry it. Well, moringa leaves are tiny. They're tiny. It takes an entire tree, basically, worth of greens in order to give you, a quart of dried powder? So there's a reason why moringa powder is so expensive.
Yeah.
It's because it takes many, many, many pounds of leaves to give you, a little bit of powder. So it does take a lot. We've got 3 trees that basically give us a couple quarts of powder, which gets us through the year.
Yeah.
So, but you tell me, what do you think? We're scaling way back, so we can give
we're still gonna grow moringa, but we are gonna cut back on how many we are growing.
Right. Because they're not serving the other purposes that we were.
Because we wanted it for ourselves and for the animals. The animals are not crazy about it, and we don't need 15 moringa trees worth of powder for ourselves. And
no, so we're working on removing several of them, and we're going to replace them with other trees. So most of it's going to be mulberry trees. Mulberries are just a better option for us, but we will be hanging on to the 3 that are in the duck area, right? Because those tend to be the most productive. They're getting water every day, and so we get the most amount of production off of those 3 trees.
Yeah.
So it's enough for us.
Okay, so how do you guys control flathead borers on apple trees?
I really don't attempt to. So I'm assuming I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think it's those little, remember those trunk borers that we had on there that one year? There was a bunch of them. So what we did was we started using Ivy Organics 3-in-1 plant guard. Mm-hmm. And we put that on the trees and they didn't come back. So that's probably going to be your best bet. I can't say with absolute certainty, but I'm pretty confident that would fix that for you. The blend of diatomaceous earth and also it's multiple different types of essential oils. And all those are designed to deter pests. And it has done a fantastic job. So I would strongly recommend it. I would definitely give that a shot first. And if you're going to use it, use our discount code. So it'll give you 10% off. So if you head over there. So we've got it down. If you go to any of our videos, you can click on that. You can see our discount code there. And then just click on that link. It'll take you over there and get you a discount. But either way, yeah. It's the only thing we paint the trunks of our trees with now, and that's one of the reasons why.
Well, and with Ivy Organics, they have the paint that you can for the trunks, but they also have a spray.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and the paint really is what you want for the trunk for those. Yeah.
And it'll protect the trunk for like leaves or something.
Right, but it'll also protect the trunk for sunburn, and so there's a lot of advantages to it. It's why we've gone to it completely. So.
Are you seeing any issues with leaves on your grapevines? Most of my leaves look like they diseased, white, and burned. I water daily. I'm wondering if there is a bug eating them.
Yeah, so it's whiteflies. And so we've had that happen to us basically every year that we've been at this farm, I want to say. So ours are the same. So as long as you're seeing, what you'll see on those, that we're far enough into the season at this point. Harvest is done. All these things are done. The vines should be fine, and you should still see some new growth on those. So what you'll probably see is new growth up towards the top or towards the end. So you'll see some of that. If you're not sure, prune a piece off and see if you get new growth on there. And you should. but it's probably whiteflies. We haven't found a good way of combating those. We did a dormant spray on it this year, and it seems like it took longer for them to arrive, because I remember doing harvesting last year, battling those whiteflies because they get everywhere. But it's real obvious if you have whiteflies, because you'll hear them. You walk up to it, they're all over the place. There's a couple other different pests that are in there that could be doing it. But I will also tell you that we're at the time of year now where, under normal circumstances, remember, these grapes are European grapes, so they're used to it as far as we're concerned, but they weren't bred and designed to have so many months of growing season. They're European. So, the growing season there is what? April or May, and then it ends in September, maybe October, right? So they're only going to be growing for 4 months. Well, these break dormancy in March. And so we're here in August. It's been 5 months already. So, it's the same with all of your fruit trees. These fruit trees are designed, with the exception of citrus and your evergreens, they're designed to go dormant after a few months. So where they grow naturally, they don't have 5 or 6, 8 months of growing season, and ours all do. And so, they're still trying to get through that. So it's probably a combination of the two, but we're right there with you. We have it on ours as well, and it's probably whiteflies. So, what else?
What do you do or plan to do with your olive harvest?
Ooh, that's a really good question, and I don't know yet.
Well, our plan was to do oil, so make olive oil.
Yeah, I think.
But obviously we have to have enough of it. We have to have a press for it,
Yeah, so my guess is, knowing how we are, I mean, we make wine, so the chances are really high it's going to wind up being oil. And, I wouldn't say we're keto. I would say we're low carb, just very low carbohydrates. So we focus on proteins, kind of like what Miss Good got for us here. Although there's plenty of carbohydrates in these too, from what I can tell.
Well, I can't read how many carbs or sugars in here.
We'll probably be able to tell when we bite into it.
Yeah.
But typically we're not. We do very, very few carbohydrates. The fruit that we grow on the farm, we don't buy fruit, obviously. We've got all this fruit surrounding us. And we do eat a fair amount of fruit, but that is really the only carbs, for the most part, that are in our diet. Maybe a little bit of alcohol. But the rest of it is protein and fats. And so fats is a big part of our diet. It's a lot of the caloric intake that we have. So we focus on healthy fats. And we've pretty much eliminated seed oils from our diet. We've been doing that for a better part of about a year and a half. So, and it's hard to do at first, and then you get used to it. But olive oil is an important one. And, it's actually a juice, technically. It's a fruit juice. So, but they are just full of oil instead of sugary juice that we're used to otherwise. So the goal is oil, ultimately. Lori doesn't like olives. So, we're probably not going to get a whole lot of them in brine and start chowing down on olives. I like them.
I mean, I would try them.
You would try them, but just like you would try crab or lobster.
You know what's really funny?
What?
And I think I've told you this before, but I don't like black olives. For some reason, they taste weird to me. But I ate green olives when I was a kid.
See, now that's odd, because the green olives have a real harsh flavor to them.
I know. I don't eat them now, but I did as a kid.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. It's better. It's better for everyone, mainly me.
What's your favorite way to eat moringa?
Powder.
We
the
powder
greens
it.
powdered. Yeah, so we dry the leaves and powder it, put it into our smoothies. It's the only way that we eat any part of the tree. So at some point in time, I'd like to get another pod harvest. The pods are actually really good steamed. You just eat them just like an artichoke leaf. You kind of scrape them off on your teeth. They're actually really good. So
yeah, I know I saw some comments in here as far as eating them dry or not. So yeah, we wouldn't eat them dry. They would be green still and steam them.
Yep. And yeah, they're actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of artichokes.
They were good that way.
I prefer artichokes, but we only get artichokes for about a month out of the year. So
when you spread ground cover seeds, do you cover the seeds or just spread them on top?
Okay, so that's a fantastic question, because we learned that sorghum needs to be drilled. It needs to be planted.
This is that 9 seed, whatever.
Right.
There's
so
a bunch of stuff.
I don't know what all's in there. I will tell you, it's probably better if it's slightly covered. So
Yeah, and when we do our pasture with the winter rye and alfalfa and spread that, we do cover it with straw.
yeah, so straw for grass seeds, typically straw is enough. So it's enough of a cover. The biggest problem you're going to have, obviously, birds come in and they will devour a good, healthy percentage of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even when they see the straw, it's like they see it, they're like, I know what you guys are doing. I'm going to go snag some of those. So, but we had our sorghum completely fail this year and had to replant it about a month ago. And so, unfortunately, it's taken a bit more water than it typically does because we're starting seed in the middle of summer. And it does, but either way, I think what you want to do is probably wait here for another probably 2 to 3 weeks before you plant that, because it's gonna be hard to get seed like that started if you're here in Arizona down here, because it's so dry and we're not getting any moisture. So it's really really hard to keep if you're gonna seed it, broadcast it, and not drill it, meaning drill down and plant it. It's gonna be hard to keep the seeds moist enough to germinate. So I would definitely wait for fall on that one.
How do you get edible seeds? The ones from my tree are bitter.
So they need to be young. I'm assuming we're talking about Moringa still, right?
Yeah.
So they need to be young. So they need to
I
be.
think someone had said that.
Yeah.
Suggested that to her too.
Yeah, they need to be young. I will tell you they have a strong flavor, and the seeds should not be very big. Think of a green bean, right? So a green bean eventually turns into you name the different type of dried bean. So eventually it starts to get hard and it starts to get bitter. And so that's probably what's happening to you, is my guess. So
Did you ever lost some moringa tree during winter?
yes. So we've lost a few. So we mentioned earlier, so transplants have always been a problem for us, and that's when we lose them. We lose them in the wintertime. So I don't know what the temperature is that causes that to happen, because I know that we were only in the 30s last year. I think we might have tapped 20 quickly this last winter, but we didn't. We had no issues with moringa trees. Our neighbor across the street had one that was completely unprotected, and it wasn't a problem. And we got down into the low. I know we got down into the low 30s this winter, and it wasn't a problem. So it just depends on how cold. 20 degrees, we know, kills a full size moringa tree.
Yeah. Do you grow castor bean seeds?
No, haven't tried that. So guess you can do castor oil. Don't you use castor oil for something? I don't remember. I thought you did.
I do have some.
This brownie's looking good. Misco, is Misco still here?
Yeah, I'm assuming so. Yeah.
I gotta try this brownie. Okay.
Do you want to? We have a lot of questions.
Okay, let's
so
keep
do you
going.
want to try that real quick or?
Yeah. Well, what's the next?
So break it open. I'll keep going.
Okay.
Do you sometimes grow sunflowers?
Yes. In fact, we planted some. Here, do you want a little piece of this?
Yeah.
Well, this feels exactly like a protein bar.
That's exactly what it is. It's
Does
a
it say?
protein
Oh, it
bar.
says protein. Brownie
Yeah,
protein.
brownie protein.
All right, I'm gonna try it.
All right, we're trying this.
All right, Misco. This went a long way to get here. Oh, it's not real sweet.
It's not.
Hey, that's not bad.
That's good.
You're expecting it to be sweet, not in a good way for us. Mm-hmm. It's not. Mm-mm. Hey, good job. And definitely chocolatey. So you get chocolate. But,
Yeah.
very good. And protein.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm going to eat the rest of that. Okay, what's the question?
We're gonna eat the rest of that.
Yep.
Very good.
Yes.
Can I go ahead and spread ground seed between the squash plants on either side of my raised beds? Do I cover them, and if so, how much?
I think it depends on what's in that mix. You want to be careful. Well, it depends. Well, I suppose you probably could. That would probably be okay. I don't know that I would put them in there while the rest of your annual veggies are growing. Gosh, I'm not sure. It depends on what's in the mix. It really does.
It was at 9.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
I think she
annual,
had said, but it's hard for me to keep going through all these.
if it's annuals, then it's going to die back. So I'd probably use it more as a cover between seasons. Is probably what I would do, as opposed to trying to plant it at the same time with an annual veggie.
Okay, I know I'm going out of order probably because I lost my spot, but do you sell the jujubes? I need some.
So we do plan on selling jujubes. I don't know for sure. You know what? Can you email us You can find, if you go to our website, you can message us there. You want to just send us a quick message through our website, we can get in contact that way.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have any available this year, but
Hard to say because a lot of them are falling off the tree or getting devoured by birds right now. So.
Do you ever break up the caliche layer with machinery or tools?
No. So we have not. Well, okay, so we have when we try to put like fence posts and stuff in. Otherwise, no. So we really focus on getting our fruit trees to spread roots out so they're not trying to penetrate that. Fruit trees is what we do mainly here. They really struggle with trying to get down, drilling through that. They do well, and the roots, these root stocks do well growing out, so horizontally, and that's how we deal with caliche instead of getting jackhammers out and all that kind of stuff. So we've had to deal with it before, and we've used different things to get through there, but on a very, very limited basis.
Do you all grow purslane?
Not on purpose. So we have had it come up in the pastures before, which surprises me because we didn't plant it there. But otherwise, no, we don't purposely plant it and grow it.
Does anybody drink bitter melon leaf fruit?
No, not here. I mean, I know, I can't remember what that's for. So there's remind me what that's for. I can't remember if it was blood pressure or, gosh, I can't remember what that kind of medicinal use is. Is it blood pressure or diabetes or something? I can't remember either way. So, no.
Okay, so, and it's a comment, but I'm going to read it because it's bow tie. Since we have some information for you.
We do. Glad you're here. Stay tuned.
So our blackberry wine is racked in the secondary fermentation where it is settling. Taste is great and it is pretty strong.
Ooh, very good. Those are all fantastic.
Yes.
And our blackberry wine is. We just racked in. We re-racked the secondary yesterday, and oh my, it retained a lot of sugar. We're not gonna have to back sweeten it at all, and it's nice and strong. But Bowtie, I don't know if you follow us on TikTok, but I'm gonna try to get it up there today. We got a little secret for you as far as making sure that you're not having to water down said wine as you start re-racking that. Okay, so you got to check it out over there.
Yeah, we researched and came up with a solution.
We did a day late because we watered down our Zinfandel this year, and we won't do it again. We won't have to do it again. So, all right, what else?
Heather said it's raining in Tucson. I'm jealous.
Very jealous. They do get some more rain down there than we do.
Do you grow bitter melon?
No, we do not. We don't use it. So we really try to focus on growing things that we personally use and then hope that other people do if it's a crop that we sell. So.
Have you ever experienced a Duraco?
Derecho? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me know what that is.
And then, Keith, I can't remember what your comment was. I'll have to look back because I had asked if you had powdered the moringa leaves.
Is that it?
There's so much on here that
Okay,
I'm
you keep doing that. I want to talk a little bit about this. Okay, so if you guys we got one more thing of Miscos to try.
Yeah.
Okay, so that right there, we talked about this at the very beginning. A lot of you probably weren't here, but that's okay. This is an apple we just picked off the tree yesterday. So one of the things that we are trying to accomplish here on this farm is figure out whether or not we can get fall apples into the fall. We still haven't been successful, even though this looks like it. This is actually an Einsheimer. So this is a fruit that should have been ripe about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. We harvested all these along with the rest of our apples, I think the last week of June. So this little guy survived. We missed him. And so there was this one and one right next to it. So pretty small. Size, what would you say, hun? If it was round, billiard ball? Probably about the size of a billiard ball if it was round.
Yeah.
Right? As far as like the height, so diameter, if it was round. But it's got a little tinge of green. I don't know if you can see that or not. The rest of it is completely yellow. So I'm going to cut this open. So if there's comments or questions.
So Abid said that yes, blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, skincare for the bitter melon
Okay, so it's all of the above.
tea. Yeah.
I thought so. That was those days in the supplement industry for me.
Yeah.
Okay, gotta get this cut. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try this. Now, one of the things that we know when it comes to our summer apples, this is a summer apple, is they have a tendency to get very, very mealy when they're fully ripe on the tree. And this is definitely a fully ripe Einsheimer at this point. Here, this is for you, sweetie pie.
Thanks.
You don't sound too excited about it.
Sorry, I'm like going back through these
All right.
comments. And...
Here, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see how this is. Can I get your opinion on that? It's not mealy.
It's not mealy at all. It's got some sweetness to it, a little plain. But I'm surprised it actually lasted.
I am too, but it doesn't taste like anything.
No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have much flavor.
Okay, that's really weird. I wasn't expecting that. That has almost no flavor at all. So we've been harvesting jujubes for the last 2 weeks or so, and the jujubes have varying degrees of sweetness. It's not a really super sweet fruit. It's got some sweetness, but I always refer the best description I can give, and I think it really does taste like this, is a dry apple. Is a fully ripe jujube, especially once it's to the like red date or Chinese date stage. So, and I like them. So I think it's, got a nice mellow, caramely, sugary, kind of very, very mellow, but kind of what you would expect from a dried apple. This doesn't even have that much sweetness to it. Oh, I don't know what happened to that one, but it's not very good. Okay, Misko, I'm going to do a second one. This one is the Love Berry Creme Brulee. Creme Brulee. This from Slovakia. This traveled a long way.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. That was really cool to get a little package from you.
That was so cool. That was so cool. All right. So that looks like a ball of chocolate. So what do I do?
So they're just like, they're like protein balls, from what I understood.
Okay.
A delicious ball full of energy. It's high in fiber.
Oh. That's always good.
I know. We need that these days.
That is so much better than the apple. It's actually really good. Oh, I like this better than the brownie.
That's
a
good.
lot better than the brownie. Wow, it's got like
that berry is really strong in there too.
So I'm trying to think what this tastes like to me. So you can definitely tell it's got a good amount of fiber. I'm a fan of that. This is really good. I wish I knew how many carbohydrates are in here. I have no idea.
And
one of those actually showed it.
The writing is so strong that I can't even see it even with my glasses.
Wow, creme brulee. If I ever make it to Slovakia, I'm gonna stock up on these bad boys.
Yeah, they're really good.
That is fantastic. All right, gonna have to do some research. I'm eating the rest of that. I just don't want to eat it now because we need to get through the rest of the podcast.
I know, right?
Wow. Misko, thank you so much. That's fantastic.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to trying the other ones.
Yeah, we got a bunch of different flavors.
Yeah, all kinds of different ones.
Nice. Love it. Thank you.
Why did the banana go out with the prune? It couldn't get a date.
Oh my goodness. Who said that? Serena. Okay. Your dad told you that one, or husband. There's a dad involved. There's a dad behind that joke. There's absolutely no question. There's a dad behind that joke somewhere.
Yeah, she had another joke up there, but you were talking, so I ended up getting too far down.
That was good. I love it. That's a knee slapper right there.
Okay, so Mrs. Bowtie is sitting over there watching your TikTok for something new.
Hang in there. It's coming. Lori, she did a great... You guys...
He made me do it also, you guys.
Okay, let's be honest. Ain't nobody want to see this face on TikTok. It's that one. By the way, you guys as well. We all know you'd rather see this beautiful face, and I don't blame you. I would too. It's just this gorgeous woman right here is afraid of the camera.
I hate being on camera.
All I did today, I said, hey, hun, you need to do a TikTok on that thing so we can show a bow tie. And she's like...
And he can see the anxiety
all of a sudden,
just
her
totally
her neck turns red, her face starts to flush. Like, she's deathly afraid. All I said was, hey, you should be in it. And she did fantastic. Just like she does right here. You're getting more used to this crew. So that's helping.
Liquid courage on these.
Come on. You don't first thing in the morning when we're doing vlogs, right?
I don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You ain't no chicken. Okay, we all good? I think we're there. Are we there? Did we make it? I think we did. We have chili tonight. Ooh, we have our world famous. It's not world famous, but it's very good. So we had chili in the crock pot, and
we try to find like easy things on Saturday that we don't have to get off of here and then try to make a whole dinner.
Because we're here with y'all.
Yeah, I like to put things in the crock pot or throw things on the smoker, and today it was chili in the crock pot.
You know what we're going to have with the chili tonight is that blackberry wine that already tastes fantastic. Bowtie, yours is coming, buddy. Yours is coming. All right, so I think we're going to wrap up here. So want to thank you guys for joining us. This has been the Desert Farmer Podcast, episode 67.
Yep,
67.
real quick.
Uh-oh.
Daryl said, what's a hint for Sunday's video?
Tomorrow is... no, it's good. So... tomorrow is another fig video. If you guys are not fans of figs, that's okay. But if you are, this is the most sought after fig on the planet. Growing, thriving, and we do our very first taste test here in Arizona. So, yeah, you have to tune in for that. Oh, and then last week's doing fantastic, which Jujubes. We're going to have to put more Jujube content out there for you guys because had a lot of great questions there. So we need to get some more. We're going to cover Jujubes again. I know Abid's going to be happy about that. So Abid, you're right.
He wants some wine too. The Jujube wine. I said we've been wanting to make one.
Yep, we haven't yet. So okay. So again, this has been the Desert Farmer Podcast, episode 67. You guys know that we're here every Saturday at 2:00 Arizona time. The reason why we do this is specifically for you guys, and we want to make sure that we're giving back to you. You know, time is the most valuable thing that we have on the planet. It's a limited, finite resource. We all run out of it, and you guys choose to spend time with us, and you guys have encouraged us so much, and this is our way of giving back to you guys. We want to make sure this is focused on you and what you want to see. So please send us your questions. We can use them as either a main topic or obviously answer them during the live broadcast here, but would really want to make sure that your questions are being answered. So if you got a good question for us, you can do that send it in many ways. You can comment here on YouTube. You can message us through our website. You can send us an email. You can call Lori's phone. It's all over the internet. That sounds bad every time, doesn't it?
I know.
I don't know how else to say it, though. She's got the farm phone. But you can, any of those ways, Facebook, Instagram, we're on TikTok now. You can message us there. So you can find us just about everywhere. Even send us mail, just like Pam did. I didn't see Pam today.
Yeah, I didn't see Pam, but yeah, Pam and Misko both.
Yeah, Misko as well. So, but yeah, either way, send those questions in. We want to make sure that this is focused on you guys. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah. What time's the video come out tomorrow? Do you have it posted at 12 or 2?
Yes. So it'll be at 12:00 Arizona time. We try to do that consistently every Sunday for you guys. We try to be consistent as best we can. And we do have that. And we do have a farm tour video coming up here. Lori's working on editing it now.
Yep.
So we will get a tour in here for you guys here in
Hopefully
August.
next weekend.
Yeah. We like to do that dog days of summer when the farm looks its worst. So you guys will see that here shortly. But until then, just want to remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
so can you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Having the rest of this